Sheikh, we cannot hear you.
What about now, folks? Can you hear me? We good for sound?
Yes, now we can.
جزاكم الله خير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Now, just got to make sure that the video is still recording, which I do think it is. I think any of the team can see the video still recording.
Yeah, it's recording, Jake.
All right, great. Jazakumullah khair. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let's jump straight in, inshallah. I do appreciate that. Obviously, this is very tight for people getting back. Myself just literally made it back, and I had to rush and blag all the parking and everything, and I'm sure others will be in an even more difficult situation. But anyway, this is only going to be very short. It was always going to be very short, but now it's even shorter, and it'll be recorded, of course, as well. Folks, what I want to say is that everything that's happening right now is clearly happening in extraordinary circumstances, right? You know, we could say all the things in the world and be really upset at the way that Nusuk has done this. It is clearly a rushed move. Do you honestly think that they wanted to do this as well in this kind of manner? But on, you know, they are also, the government services closed down and publicly very well known over the last week and for the Eid holidays. Muslim countries do that all the time. Saudi, of course, is the most Muslim of countries. It does that as well. This is not something that they wanted to do. But I respect that they have said, you know what, let's just get it over and done with in a situation which is completely plagued with uncertainty. I mean, you think about it. The staff themselves from Nusuk and members of the Hajj ministry right now are in potential places that you know could be that are being bombed and they are under attack. And I'm not over dramatizing that, but it's a fact. And there is a war happening in that region. And forget about you folks that haven't joined yet. There are people who have got their place and they are significantly concerned whether the Hajj is going to be cancelled or not. So there's genuine concerns across the board. We have concerns. The service providers have concerns, and the ministry, of course, they you know, they're part of a government that needs to be making some big decisions right now. They've got other priorities right now, much bigger priority than the Hajj. The safety of the people is a much bigger, important priority than the Hajj. And so I think that we've got to be very understanding in these kind of crazy situations and recognize that there was little choice in order to do this, and we just got to roll with it. Okay? So that message, I think, is really important for us to calibrate the way that we are thinking of the ministry and the way that we're thinking of Nusuk. And they are our brothers and sisters, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. Alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. There are plenty of other reasons for us to be upset than this one. So with that being said, obviously everyone's been caught on the hop. Everybody. And nobody wants to be doing this, and strategy and planning and trying to organize things, etc., in literally no time, whilst fasting, in Ramadan, with Salah left, with the last, and if it was 10, 15 days ago, you'd say, you know what, I've got a couple of days, I can make it up. But this is the last chance for us, Yani, the last night, the last day. You can't, you know, so nobody wants this, nobody. But it is what it is, alhamdulillah. And from my point of view, obviously a couple of days ago, we got a wind of an idea. And you need to know that one of the main reasons that there's been such a long delay is because of the back and forth and the politics and whatever happens internally about what was meant to happen to those remaining visas. You know, every year that some get into the government, some go to a system called Mujamala, some system go to B2C, which is basically Aslat. And the classification, reclassification of back and forth has been happening in the background. And suddenly, literally in the last few days, the Mujamala visas that were restricted and they are cheaper as a result and very basic as a result were suddenly now made available on the B2C market, i.e. on Nusuk for everybody to buy. This then gave us an opportunity to say, hey, is there any way that this can be appropriated for those that are waiting for our programs? We got a positive response. We were given some options, and then then we took the interest from you folks, and we've been waiting since then, because what have we been waiting for? We do not want to do anything against the rules of Nusuk. We certainly don't want to do anything against the rules that the Ministry of Hajj have put down. And one of those important rules is that modifications to a program or a package cannot happen outside of Nusuk. And so we told Ikram al-Dayf, and have been telling them all this time, that we cannot go live with we can make inquiries, we can get feedback, we can get a register of interests, but we are not going to push anything or go public with anything unless we get a clear official sign-off from all parties, primarily the Ministry of Hajj, saying, yes, you can buy that program, burn that flight, and burn the hotels in this case, and get the other hotel rooms that would then match you up with base camp, match you up with the program, make it a program that I'm proud to say, this is a program that we can support. This is a program that's going to be with the group. You're going to be part of everything and the like. We just heard back in the last 45 minutes that the ministry do not want to allow that to happen this year. All right. I have to tell you that that's the reason that I have been very cautious on this. And this is the reason why we didn't do anything other than just get feedback on this. But that has now been stated and officially and clearly, and we have heard the message that the ministry are not, and I'm not going to lie, I don't blame them. In this environment, it makes sense to have complete control within the Nusuk architecture, within the legal kind of, within the whole kind of controlled environment that Nusuk is clearly built for. Because once you start allowing people to buy things, purchase things, change things off of Nusuk, right? It's not even just about the flow of money and cash and taxes. It's not even that. It's control, right? And over the last few years, the control has been increasing. And as a result of control increasing, what are the benefits to the rest of the Hujjaj? The numbers are then trimmed down. There's no illegal people or much less illegal folks. It becomes safer for everybody in every way, And if there were 25 people here on this call, they would say just how smooth and easy the Hajj was. So it actually does work. It's not just a theory, it's in practice. So I'm not going to hate on that in any way, but I am extremely disappointed. Of course, I'm disappointed because for the second time in this Hajj season, I'm disappointed. I don't blame myself, by the way, because I know that we tried our best. But the reason I don't blame myself is because this has all been happening in the most extraordinary circumstances, right? We're trying to make something work for the Hujjaj that have been left behind. And each time the circumstances overtake the reality. The circumstances, my perceived reality, which is actually more like fantasy. I was thinking that even in this environment, we could do this. Now, with this confirmation from the ministry, it basically means that we cannot manage another program or any further program with whatever company, with whatever change. We can't support any person in any other, whether it's an Ikram al-Dayf package, whether it's another company or anything of that sort. And I'm really sorry to come up with that news straight up front. So that's basically me stating officially and finally that from a 100 involvement in its program, it's done. It's closed. And I can tell you that tomorrow's sale is going to be very brief. I'm guessing here, but what's going to happen? Is it going to go on Eid? You think that the Saudis are going to work all night? And they're not, are they? It's going to be, like I said, this is just keeping up appearances. It's just going through the process. It's opening it up, letting most people have a shot. I think there's a real reduced appetite anyway, so nobody's going to cry over it when it closes an hour later, and there'll be X amount of thingies. There's a huge amount of visas clearly to get through. Most of them are with packages that people don't want. The Ikram al-Dayf packages are cheap, but not as cheap as the others. And clearly there'll be some, they will get the headlines, but the truth is that those packages aren't great either, right? But it's because they have so few left. A lot of people will read into that this belongs to the very best company because they've got the fewest left, right? Yani, it's up to you whether you want to make that judgment or not. The truth is that you have a load of Al-Bayt packages, not a load, you have Al-Bayt packages left, which its number would have increased now to over 1,000 spaces. So that's now a real option. You've got some Sira and Yusra packages left that are going to be with friends that I know and we're going to post the link in the channel to those. So I am going to say, so I guess there's 3 messages. The first one is that any Hajj with the plan program is dead. Wa Allah al-Musta'an. The second is that that there are packages and programs that I'm going to write a post about in the next maybe 5-10 minutes or whatever, or whenever this finishes, and I'll put it in the channel of those that I can at least offer, not recommend. My opinion. That, I think that you should all do Hajj, of course. If you can, you should do it whilst you can. If you can't, it's allowed to do it next year. Inshallah, we'll be back next year. Inshallah. I'm feeling positive about it, that we'll be doing something next year. But if you have the ability now and you can do it, then of course you should do it. But will I go as strong as to say I recommend certain packages? No, because I only recommend that which I can take responsibility for. Can I say that there are a few that have got people that I know and I can hold accountable? And when I say I hold accountable, I mean I can speak to them and say, listen, sort your act out, show some, up your game and recognize your responsibility. But I've been saying that for years, like anybody listens anyway. So anyway, the point is that I'm going to put a few down regardless. And number 3, we are still here to support any of the Hujjaj in purchasing their package with our experience, with our help, keeping in mind that it's the worst time possible in the middle of the working day, and probably even worse for the Americans, frankly, because it's at the beginning of their working day, which means that, how do you even get into work? Whereas at least us in the UK, we could blag it. We're already in work and then we could just blag it 1 or 2 hours, whatever. It's a tough situation. It's clearly not aimed at convenience, is it? Clearly not aimed at getting big numbers through the door. Read between the lines, folks, okay? So, but our team is big enough to have enough people that will be able to help. And so what you're going to find is that after I end this call and post the recording, but before the post recording, I'm going to make a post which is going to have recommended packages which you need to go and then start playing around with and configure. Choose either as group flight or choose yourself some Musafir flights. And I'm also going to give a link to the helpers group. Those people who are not already in it, then you'll click it and it's a Telegram group. This is a private group, which is a smaller one, which has got people that are officially labeled as helper, okay? And you will get some instructions in that tomorrow. And in the instructions, it'll basically say, have your details ready in case you can't sign in or log in. And there'll be helpers. What does a helper mean? They'll log in for to help you purchase your package. A reminder that there's a full disclaimer that any liability, blah, 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 is nothing upon any of the helpers. But it's pretty straightforward in that nobody can take money out of your account. The worst that they could do is to purchase you the wrong Hajj package, which you can control by making sure you go in right now and choose the one that you want and putting it into your cart. So that all they got to do is just press checkout, okay? And obviously, as I said, the people that you can rely upon in the group are actually labeled with the word helper, okay? And therefore, you can feel comfortable by giving your details to them in a manner. There are a couple of things I need to tell you about the helpers group because we used it to good effect in the first round. What you need to know is that you need to open up your settings, and your settings have to be that you can message and be messaged by everybody, and that you can call and be called by everybody on Telegram. Very, very important, because especially those that are going to need Musafir flights, that's just not possible to do over messaging. They need to be on the phone and they need to be saying, right, listen, we've got a Berna flight here, we've got a Manchester flight there, we've got a New York flight here, it's this, that, whatever. There's got to be a two-way kind of communication. So it's important that when you go into that helpers group, that you are that you're ready and that your details and information, your Nusuk information is ready in a little note and that you then paste it to that helper when they say I'm available, and then so we're going to write the rules down, and you're going to just follow those rules to the T. Okay, folks. So those are the things. In summary, again, apologies. We've been told by the ministry it's not possible to do what we wanted to do, so it's the Hajj Day program is over. The plan B, the next plan. Number 2, we're going to put some recommended packages forward, Al-Bayt ones, Saudiya ones, a couple of Sira ones, and a few Yusr ones. These are the ones that we know we've got people in that could give you at least 20-30% of an experience and a result, and they do some Hajj training and the like. So that's good enough. Otherwise, wait until next year. And number 3, regardless of who you are and what you want, we will help you get your Hajj package if you cannot have the time. You're at work, you're ill, you're X, you're Y, you don't have the tech abilities, you're nervous, you're whatever the situation is, we're here to try to support you through the helpers group across the board, regardless of who you are. That's the 3 messages. Jazakumullah khair. We'll just take some urgent questions then from folks that have important questions about the process, about tomorrow and whatever. Remember that when you've got to put your hand up, all right? And then when you put your hand up, then we will unmute you and then you can speak. However, I want you to know that all of us as a team, we do not see the people with their hands up. It's a weird system. So things, we can't actually tell whether, your hand's up or not. Some people can see, like at this moment right now, if you've got your hand up, I can't see a single person with their hand up. So if someone has, okay, so Tanveer is telling me that we've got a list already. So khalas, I'm going to do it in this order: Isa and Nira and then Harun. Okay, that's how we're going to do it. So Isa, if you go ahead and start, and then we'll go to Nira. So unmute yourself, and then we'll go to Harun Mufti. Isa, unmute yourself. And if I say to you, we can't hear you and you're speaking, it means that you need to do what I did, which is to close Telegram down and start again. The problem is on your end. Isa, last chance. Okay, Nira, go ahead. Nira, go ahead. Unmute yourself. All right, so you've got the same situation. Both Isa and Nira, you both need to turn your Telegram off and then on. Harun Mufti has disappeared from my list. Who's next? Whoever is next, then they can... is it Rehan? Okay, Rehan, why don't you have a go?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam, go ahead, bro.
I just wanted to ask if the time for when the window opens, is it the same pressure as the last time?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason for that is because the appetite is not there from a lot of people. A lot of people have signed out mentally. A lot of people have emptied their e-wallets. A lot of people, especially in America, for example, they don't have the appetite for this kind of stuff, which is understandable. They're in their country's at war. They've got immigration issues coming back in again that they're concerned about. Their flight options are far more limited than us in the UK. And so whilst we are like, we don't need to use Emirates and Qatar, the risky airlines, we can go Wizz Air, we can go Heathrow, we can go British Airways, we can go Saudiya Direct. The Americans don't have that level of luxury. So they're the biggest market. They normally end up taking 10,000 odd visas, 9,000 odd visas, 6,000 odd visas at the end of a season. So with that kind of reduction, and I don't think it's going to be the madness. Does that mean that we change our approach? No. I think, and that's why I did post the strategy document earlier on. I think this still applies. I think everybody should put in log in and stay logged in and play around 2 hours beforehand. So in the States, that should be at 7 a.m. in the morning. After Fajr, basically stay awake. And whereas us Brits and the like, then it should be 11 o'clock in the morning. You should be like targeting that. I don't think you need to go in 3 hours before. And I'm not even obligating 11. I don't think it will be the madness that it will be. And the truth is that even if it was as busy as it was and as chaotic as it wasn't busy and chaotic. It was remarkably smooth. And so that kind of gone backwards, right? They clearly have applied some upgrades. You'd be very surprised that they make the system go backwards. So everything that we all trained for, and if you're brand new to all of this and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's all there in this channel that you're watching this video. Just go up and scroll and read and watch and click on the strategies and read the summaries. Everything is there for you to get an advantage. And we're going to have the helpers group as well, so somebody else can do it for you if you're really not in that state. So that's my take on it, Rehan. What do you think?
That's all. I only wanted some information, knowing that, like, okay, like, you can't give any guarantees. The only other thing I want to say is, like, at this stage, being crystal clear that I'm not going to be able to go on your package with your Tarbiyah program. I'm so sad that we won't be able to enjoy that, but making dua for you for all the help that you've given so far.
Barakallahu feek. Like I said, our help is there for everybody, whatever program you decide to go on. And we will be seeing you on one of the other Tarbiyah programs, Boris, you know, I posted. And that's the commitment that you guys are making by not going on this Hajj program, correct?
Inshallah.
All right, khalas. Barakallahu fiqh, Rehan. All right, Farhana, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Mine was just a quick one. I know you said obviously we'll go back through the previous strategy document, but regarding the Musafir flights now, obviously a lot of the flight prices and things like that have increased with everything that's happening across the world.
Have they?
Well, on general flights, this is my question. So on general flights, they have done in that area, from my understanding. So I just wanted to check: are we still looking and using the same strategy and just looking for any cheap flight we can get, knowing we are expecting to burn it?
No, because you are either taking that as a strategy, which is the burner strategy, and you're full in then, okay? And if you're full into the burner strategy, then that is its own path. You then get one of these like Bahrain or Dubai ones, which is cheap. Yani at 1,000 riyals, that's like less than 200 quid, right? And I'm pretty sure that it wasn't that cheap when people did burners in phase one. But regardless, when you've done that, you've already signed up to you now looking in the market and buying your flight. And one thing that we will say now, and I was going to write about this, but now you've given me the opportunity, that anybody that's now going for a Hajj package in this current environment will have to do certain things that they weren't prepared to do earlier on. So, for example, understand where liability lies. So there's two things that are going to happen. That Hajj is either not going to get cancelled, but airlines are going to lose their nerve, or the Hajj is going to get cancelled. Okay? Now, let's go with the first scenario. The first scenario is that the Hajj is going to go ahead, but there's, increasing attacks and some of the various kind of routes become a bit more muddy. And therefore, and either the airline blinks first or the people are like, you know what, this is not worth it. In this scenario, you are not necessarily, unless the airline cancels a route, you are not going to get a refund. Now, we're just talking about financial liability, which means that you would be very wise when you're buying your ticket to buy it with a refundable class. So you pay more and it's fully refundable. And the reason I say that is because now you're operating outside of the Nusuk system. You're not involved in any refunds from the government or Nusuk or Hajj because you're buying your own ticket. And in this case, you should pay more or have travel insurance, which is easy for us in the UK to say, but in America and Canada, ridiculously expensive, okay? But that's now what you've got to be starting thinking of to be able to cover you for the loss of your ticket. That's in this first scenario. And then you'd have to then pivot to buy another ticket, or as I said, have the right refundable ticket, which pay more for. So that's you buying a burner and then buying your own ticket, got to be refundable. So it's going to be a bit more expensive. In the second scenario, which is that the Hajj actually gets cancelled, which sounds crazy and is unthinkable, but it is possible. I personally think it's unlikely, quite unlikely. And so I don't think we need to think about it in that kind of mood sense. However, technically speaking, if it was to happen, if you've bought your flight within the system, meaning you bought a Musafir flight inside the Hajj portal, the Nusuk portal, and I mean a proper Musafir flight from your actual city and, matching dates and everything, then there will be a much more safer, not guaranteed, much more safer refund process. How much? What process? Nobody knows, because that's unprecedented. Can I see a scenario in which the ministry turn around and say, yeah, we're going to refund you back, whatever, but not the Musafir part? Yes, I can see that. I can see them splitting in their minds between certain things. And can I see them putting it together, that is all refunded? I can, but I think it's unlikely. Is the refund going to come from the government? Absolutely, it's not. It's going to come from those companies. Those companies are going to definitely, the ministry is going to lean on them and make them pay. And the smaller companies are going to struggle. Where are they going to get all of those funds when they've put all of that money into flights, group flights, and into hotels? So whatever happens, whatever the money is that's meant to come back, nobody can tell you right now. How is it going to work? How much will it be? What aspects of the components of the package will you get refunded for? We'd be lying if we're trying to sound authoritative or positive about it. There will be some form of refund process. It will take some long time. The only thing that I can say is that I will remain in it, and the team will remain in it for the maximum amount of time and our ability to help everybody get those refunds if they were able to get a refund. If the refund process allows. We will support everybody. We're not going to run away and hide from that. La qaddar Allah, inshallah, it's not going to happen. And more important, I don't think it's going to happen. The most important part for you is when you say, what's my strategy? You are either going the burner strategy. And that burner is just to check out. But I just want to say something. That normally the burner strategy is a good strategy in a chaotic environment. A chaotic environment where you don't have a group flight option, where where places have sold out or the group flights have sold out. So it's a pivoting kind of move. Going at it from the beginning in what I am predicting and what I think will be quite a stable, quite a quiet kind of sales process, I don't know whether you need to go down the burner route, if that makes sense. I think that in this kind of environment, I think you're going to be in there, you're going to have a lot of time, and you're going to be able to go, and Musafir is going to be working fine. And you'll have the time, because remember, burner route is just press return and buzz straight out. Whereas the proper Musafir is a long, drawn-out process. Got to go and press multi-city, got to go to Medina, depending upon the package you buy. Got to go Medina first, got to look at prices, got to look at this, that, whatever. It takes longer. And we say, no, you ain't got time for that, go burner. But now you have got time, right? Now there isn't such a rush. And now you're also thinking, do I want to take the risk with a flight outside of the system that is going to be a bit more, expensive maybe or not? So that's what you need to be doing tonight, is the research. So the package that you're now going to target, obviously we don't have any packages to offer. Go into it, look at the Musafir prices. Now go over to Skyscanner or Google Flights and look at the flight that you would buy outside the system at a class that is refundable. You put that into Skyscanner, refundable. And then look at the price comparisons. And then you start to then get a feel for, right, I get this one, costing me double, but I can get the flight refunded easily straight to my pocket, no delay. Whereas, and then you can incorporate the travel insurance cost in that as well. Then you look at the Musafir one and say, yeah, I don't know if I'll get that refunded or not. I should do, but it'll take a long time for it to get back to my account. This is the kind of things I want you to think about. Does that make sense, Farhana?
Yeah, completely. Jazakallah.
All right, then.
I suppose this is probably one that we won't know yet, but just a follow-on question then was, I know obviously you've talked about travel insurance. A lot of travel insurance excludes war and obviously countries that, that aren't recommended. So we're kind of almost discounting that, I think. I don't know.
I don't know about discounting it, especially from a UK point of view. It's so cheap that you'd do it anyway, right? And that's why we justified that travel insurance from a medical and a uncertainty point of view anyway. And there might be scenarios where it's not a case of war but you're right. I said at the very, very beginning that there's no bigger corrupt industry worse than the insurance one, and they will do you over regardless. But we know that, and it is what it is. I think that the bigger dependency should be on a refundable ticket. That's the one. And to remember that if everything was to get cancelled, you'd get the Hajj, then it's a different kind of legal kind of process. But I just think that the focus shouldn't be on a travel insurance, shouldn't be necessarily on Musafir. It should be on making sure your ticket is the highest class possible so that it can be refunded.
Brilliant, Jazakallah.
All right.
Thank you to you, the whole team, for all of your support throughout
You're
this, and
welcome.
Eid
Barakallah
Mubarak
fikum.
in advance.
Barakallah fikum. Wa Allah, inshallah. Abu Khadija, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I think my question is very similar to Sister Farhana. Yes, Chef. The question is similar to Sister Farhana's, which is, in terms of strategy, should I prioritize the bonus flight or an actual custom flight that I will use?
Yeah, so like I said, normally the burner flight is something you do when you're panicking, when you've not got great options, but you've actually got all the options. One thing I would say is that you would probably avoid the Emirates and Qatar Airlines, and you would focus on European / Turkish / Wizz Air / kind of airlines that are outside, outside of the kind of that zone, and I think that would be, and Saudia Airlines as well.
And just to emphasize that point for everyone, I literally just landed in Chicago from Amman, from Umrah, and my original flight was on Qatar Airways, which is supposed to be tomorrow, but we could not guarantee that, so we switched to Royal Jordanian. And literally, I'm at Chicago's airport right now waiting for my bag. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, indeed, alhamdulillah. And at your own cost, or did Qatar transfer you over?
No, I originally booked it with American Airlines and some executive platinum status. They transferred me over.
Okay.
So
Alhamdulillah. Good. Alhamdulillah. Good result. So there you go, bro. All right. Barakallah feek. Jazakumullah khair. Mustafa, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Mustafa, 3, 2, and then 1. Nira, do you want to have another go again? Nira, try unmuting yourself. You're having a bit of trouble there, I can see. Okay, never mind. All right, Omar, would you like to try your turn now? I think, yes, go ahead, Omar. Salam, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a follow-on question with regards to travel insurance. Obviously, generally, as a rule of thumb, we avoid travel insurance just for our peace of mind and to err on the side of caution. Could you just run past how it's permissible in these given circumstances?
Right. So, the position on insurance is two opinions: the majority of scholars and the minority. The majority consider it impermissible. Yeah, and straight across the board, they think it's a contract of riba and they consider it to be a contract of gambling. I've written about this in this group, by the way. If you do some search, you'll find it. But just a quick overview for you. And they would not allow it in this scenario either. And if they did, I'd be surprised, because that would be contradictory, frankly. I've never adopted that position. So just to make it very clear, I have not allowed travel insurance because of the current war situation at all. I believe that the travel insurance product is itself intrinsically permissible, that it has a maslaha that is not built upon riba or upon maisir or upon a thingy, that it has a level of uncertainty, which is something which we call in Sharia called a gharar, but not a gharar which is out of control, or the level of gambling gharar. And that's where the minority and the majority, they differ. So absolutely, if you are following one of the majority position, which is the majority of the madahib and the majority of the schools, then you will not touch travel insurance. It's not permissible. However, from all of 4 schools, individual scholars from those schools, there is the minority position, and that is permissible. I've always taught that position. I hold it, very comfortable with it, but it's not based upon emergency circumstances. That's for them to worry about. The people who think it's haram, whether, the emergency circumstances make it permissible, good luck to them. I've got no idea. So I just want to make it clear that's the position, and Allah knows best. You are allowed to take out that product. Mustafa, I saw your thingy work for a second. Want to try again?
Yes. Sorry, I had to do the settings.
Yep. Yeah, Nira, I would turn on and off again, by the way, Nira. Yeah, go ahead, Mustafa.
Jazakallah for all your help. Thank you so much. May Allah reward you for all your efforts, you and the team. 2 questions. One you've already answered, which is the strategy question. The second question I have is, the camps. So if we have an option for other packages, which is the better camp to choose? Is it the Al Kabash camp or the Al Muhayzin camp?
There's no Majar al Kabsh camp at all anywhere, unless you buy a Saudiya package, of course. But that's the only big money, right? And if you buy the Saudiya package, then you're going to be in a separate camp called Kidana, which is the best of the very, very best. And so if you want the most comfortable, easiest, then you got to drop 70, 80, 90,000 riyal on that package, which is probably double of what you're going to pay in some of these cheap packages. And these cheap packages are all in the Mu'aysim camp, which is absolutely sufficient, but it's not Majar al-Kabsh, the luxury of that, and it's certainly not the luxury of Kidana. The very, very best packages, by the way, that are on the market right now are, of course, the Saudiya ones, for two reasons. The first is that they are of supreme quality, managed to a different level, luxury and organization logistics over there, different level, comfort, different level, but also they have really good qualified teachers because they can afford to get whatever they want. And so they've got popular speaker type kind of figures that are leading those kind of groups that are celebrity speakers, as they call them. So that's obviously gives a lot of tasalli, a lot of kind of comfort to those that go for them. But the con is that they are extremely, not extremely expensive, but they're expensive, yeah. All right.
The last thing, Sheikh, before I go, I'm looking forward to your recommendations because I guess a lot of us on the call, we're waiting for that to know which packet to choose, whether it's Al-Bayt or any other.
So I'm going to tell you straight, by the way, the recommendations haven't actually changed since the last 6 weeks. So straight after phase one finished, I put up a list and it's exactly the same one, actually. But just now that we've got a link that you can actually see the packages on outside as well. So it's going to be pretty the same one, a couple of Sira ones, a couple of Yusr ones, the Al-Bayt ones that are remaining, and all of the Saudiya ones, with a couple of them in particular. And again, recommended is a strong word because obviously we have a different standard here, but they are definitely they're definitely better than going and getting the rest of Ikram packages or MCDC or the other bakwas that's out there. They're definitely better than that. That much I can say. Recommended is too much of a strong word, but you're safer at least, and you're going to have at least a positive Hajj with these guys, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Wayak. Salim, go ahead. Salim. Unmute yourself, Salim. Okay, I can't see him anymore. Right, anybody else got their hand up? Nira, do you want to try again? Nira, you're having real trouble here, bro. You really need to probably turn off your whole device and back on and off again.
Can you hear me? Can you
Salim,
hear me now?
I can. Yeah, go ahead, Salim.
Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak in advance.
Barakallahu feek.
Thank you for all your help and all the things you've done. Thank you very much. I was saddened to see the news today.
Wallahi, to be honest, bro, disaster. To be honest, yeah, we were so excited actually, and
so close.
Yeah, so close and yet so far. Yeah. It is true, but qaddar Allah, there's khair in it, and like I said, we're going to be here next year for those that really don't want to do it except in part of the program, but otherwise, there are these other options, and
Well, I want to say thank you so much for all your help and support, and Allah make it easy for you, and make this Hajj for you, and all the people who are going for with you. You're the best. You are the best.
Barakallah. And we appreciate you, Yani. All of your kind words along the way, and you've been very supportive of the whole process. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen you guys as well, and give you the very best experience in the right time as well. Jazakumullah khair. Appreciate it. Right. Anybody else got their hands up that I can't see, or are we done? We're gonna keep the chat open now to be able to deal with people in the meantime. And I guess this gives me an opportunity also to post the stuff. But I don't think there's anything new to say. I'm gonna put out the helpers group link and put a few of the actual links to the packages that we think that are better than the rest. Not recommended per se, but that's what it is. Okay, guys. بارك الله فيكم وجزاكم الله خير سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك اللهم وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.